What's up, Lego builders? Well, welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. Today I'm using a random minifig generator with some pieces of paper in it and selecting 4 random minifigs and building Mocs with them. The reason this is so fun is because I have no idea what minifigs I'm going to pick, so I don't even know what Mocs I'm going to be building as of right now. And I wanted to really branch out and force myself to build things I don't normally do. So I've got all kinds of good minifigs in here, from Queen Amidala to Imperial fanatics to Pencil Man. And to make things even more interesting, I only have one kind of clone trooper in there, since I guess I can't make every Moc a clone trooper based Moc. So the first minifig that I'm going to be building a Moc with is, man, these papers are tiny. Look at this, I can barely even see it. Bruh. We've got a Geonosis, nice. The second minifig is going to be Pencil Man. Dang, I put that in as a joke. Now I've actually got to use it. All right, let's mix these up a little bit, build the suspense a little. For the third minifig, we've got Queen Amidala, and this is going to be fancy minifig, Queen Amidala. That one's going to be interesting. All right, the fourth and final minifig is going to be, drumroll, they're always upside down, Imperial Guards. Okay, the red Imperial Guards who are always hanging around with Sidious. We got some good minifigs. This is going to be a fun little challenge that I've got cooked up for you guys. Now I gotta figure out what I'm building and get started. But before we dive into the builds, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button, and let's get building. This first one is gonna be a baseplate free Moc hovering above the table like a menacing cloud. I decided to get the Imperial Moc out of the way first, and since it's with the Imperial Guard, I knew it needed to be a gloomy industrial build, since they're always lurking in the shadows while Sidious schemes in his ships and rooms. So I wanted this Moc to give off a Death Star vibe. Well, before it got blown up vibe. I took inspiration from Sidious's throne room, in particular how is the elevator going up to his room, and there are railings and just different levels everywhere. I built 2 round dishes that will act as the foundations of the build, and I'm going to put some trans clear bricks on the underside to make it look like they're floating. On the smaller dish, I'm going to build the elevator shaft using the giant quarter cylinder pieces. I wanted to build a Moc that has 2 platforms raised up super high in the air, connected together by a small bridge. Basically like a secret place for Palpatine to do things. Now Palpatine may be an evil Sith Lord, but he's not unsafe, so I'm going to install some guardrails around the edges so no one trips and falls to their death. I got the idea for these from the Bespin dual set, which uses the bendable pipes as railings. To connect this smaller one to the main dish, I need a bridge. Nothing too crazy, just a small walkway with, once again, railings, since we don't want the Imperial inspectors to find this unsafe bridge and shut down elevator access. The build is done, and now it's time to tell a story. The Imperial Guards go in first, since they're the reason this Moc came to be, and next we have Stas Ali, who looks a little too happy to be with Sidious. Last in goes old Palps himself, angry and ready to lightning people. The Imperial Guard watch silently as they guard the entrance to the elevator as Palpatine prepares to interrogate Jedi Master Stas Ali. We all know how he likes to communicate. Oh no, you must die! This isn't a canon event or anything, just a fun little story I threw together, so I don't want to hear about how this Moc is inaccurate in the comments. You may have noticed there are no rails on the other dish, and that's because this is Palpatine's yeeting platform. If he doesn't like what you have to say, well, I might as well get the dumb Pencil Man Moc out of the way next. I really did just put that in as a joke, and for some reason I was thinking there's no way I would actually pick him. What to build with a minifig who doesn't even come from the Star Wars galaxy? I think he might come in like a Lego Batman set or something. I decided the easiest place to fit him in without looking too weird would be the lower levels of Coruscant. If ever there was a place a Pencil Man could live, it was there. A hive of criminal and low-life activity, not to mention anybody who goes to Coruscant and can't afford to live on the surface ends up down there. I'm building the entrance to a bar, which will be pretty simple, but I added staggering rows of inverted slopes at different heights to create a cool little funnel-like effect to lead people inside to definitely not buy death sticks.
Wanna buy some death sticks?
I'm also adding pillars of brick staggered on the outside just to make the wall less flat and a little bit more detailed. Enter one of my Lego building nemesis, Lego stairs. I've built all different kinds of stairs, even a set of massive steps leading up to the Galactic Senate building, but trying to get the rise and run right always trips me up. I added angled tiles to the end of the steps because these are fancy stairs. I need a good floor too. I think the dark bluish gray road will contrast well with the light bluish gray walls. I'm sure this is some nice deja vu for people who just finished watching me build a massive Coruscant Moc. You can't build a Coruscant Underworld Moc without some flashy signs. I wish I had some good neon images to use, but I'll have to make do with transparent parts behind fake Arabesh lettering that definitely doesn't say anything, so don't try to translate it. In go the signs and usual Underworld greebles like pipes and round grates that have no business being that big. Since it's the underground, we'll have some sketchy looking characters and Senator Akonda Farr going into the bar for only honorable purposes, I'm sure. Also, there's garbage on the floor to represent the gritty, dirty vibe, and nothing says that better than a random chicken leg on the floor.
Oh, Mori.
Old Pencil Man was casually making his way out of the rusty starship when he was stopped by a clone patrol. When asked for ID, Pencil Man blustered, "I have none, but I promise I'm from Star Wars. I mean, from around here. Why don't we head down to the station and have a little chat?" the clone replied. "I like the look of the bar, real simple, but all the jogs and slopes and greebling make it look a lot more interesting and detailed than it actually is. Let me know in the comments how you would have integrated Pencil Man into a Star Wars build. I need some color in my life after that drab Coruscant mock, so let's tackle the Geonosis build next. I was actually really hoping to pick that fig because I had a pretty cool mock idea for it. Plus, any excuse to build a mock with clones in it, am I right? When it comes to Geonosis, there are a couple of pretty common places to build. The arena, where the Republic version of the Avengers fight the beasts, or the big battle, which is essentially an orange table with clones on one side and droids on the other, charging towards each other to give out hugs. I mean shoot each other. Having done both scenes recently, I wanted to branch out and explore a different side of Geonosis. The dark catacombs and caves where the Geonosian aliens live and do weird zombie stuff. Unfortunately, my dark orange part collection looks a lot like my vacation budget. There just isn't a whole lot there, so I'm only going to have parts for one small cave at the edge of a small valley or gorge, and you can use your imagination to fill in the rest. You best believe I will revisit this idea someday and give you an epic clones being hunted and ambushed in the canyons and caves mock you were hoping for. In my most recent Geonosis mock, I had the crazy idea to build a giant Geonosis battle. I ran out of dark orange tile and had to use some dark tan, of course, and the two colors looked really good together, so while building the cave, I'm going to add dark tan to add little. My plan is to have a cave entrance, or in this case, emergency exit, with clones bursting out being chased by Geonosins. This thing looks more like a pizza oven than a cave, but it'll have to do. I need to finish the tiling off the ground around the cave as well, and we'll add a little medium nougat to give the terrain a nice nougat taste. I mean, look. For how few dark orange parts I have, I've really been cranking out the Geonosis mocks of late. The one structure is done, and now it's time for some minifigs. I'm going to have one clone running out of the cave as a Geonosian swoops down on him while his buddy is about to get yeeted away by another Geonosian. I love this mock, just for the fact that it depicts something other than droids and clones shooting each other on an orange cave. The whole dynamic of the clones versus separatists is switched in this mock, as normally it's clones coming in kicking butt, but this was the Geonosians' home court and they definitely have some advantages and tricks up their wings, which these clones are learning the hard way. I feel like this is the visual representation of what a Monday feels like. One of the clones might make it to his squad, but the other guy is already losing his helmet and most likely his lunch. We have arrived at the final build with the Queen Amidala minifig. I felt like I had some limitations with this one because she only wears this fancy red dress during the beginning of the Phantom Menace, so I knew this mock would have to be on Naboo around that time. So I decided to build her fancy office and Theed Palace. Now I do have a pretty nice Theed city mock already built, but I think it might be a little bit too small.
He's right.
Now, Theed is all about grandeur and fancy details, and I can't hope to recreate this room accurately in a simple build challenge, but what I can do is build a really big fancy window. I think making the massive window at the back of the room the centerpiece of the mock will help give this build the right vibe and make it feel more like a palace. I did get a lucky break because there's some dark tan throughout the room, so I'm going to make a little grid pattern with tan plate and tile on the floor, which will make for a really nice clean look. Now for the finishing touches. I added some columns to the edges, a fancy seat and table that look very inconvenient, and in go the figs from droids, Queen Amidala, and angry guards. I decided to build a scene that could have taken place before the events of Phantom Menace, where Newt Gunray goes to Naboo to try and get whatever deal he was looking for and threatens to blockade Queen Amidala's planet if she disagrees. She, of course, angrily says no, while a roller droid looks on, desperately trying to ignore the delicious looking pizza on her table. The big fancy window was a must for this mock. I feel like it and the tiled floor really tied everything together and make you think Theed Palace when you look at it. Theed is another place I would like to revisit in the future. The palace and surrounding area are full of so many cool things to build. Maybe it'll be a future build series. I really enjoyed this type of challenge because I don't know what I'm building right up until those names start coming out of the hat. I would like to try this challenge format again, so if you have any idea of what I could randomly select for next, let me know in the comments, and definitely don't say hottest Star Wars minifigs because there are way too many to choose from.
No. Don't like that.
Surprisingly, I think the Imperial mock was my favorite of these builds, which usually never happens, but man, I love me some railings. Let me know in the comments which of these builds was your favorite or what scenes you would have chosen in the comments, and I will catch you next time, but until then, happy building.